It's time now for French Connections, our look at the intricacies of life here in France with Solange Mougin. Hi, Solange.
Hi, Dini.
Today you're focusing on urbanism in France, and in particular French shopping areas outside of big cities and towns. Now, the government says many of them are obsolete, but they're also very well loved.
Yeah, every single day in France, there are on average 7 million people who go to shopping centers. Now, the French love their centres commerciaux, or their shopping malls and strip malls, and they actually bring in over 70% of revenue for physical in-store commerce. Now, compared to Germany, where that figure is at around 30%, that's a lot of love for both indoor malls and outdoor strip malls that are often just outside towns.
Se garer facilement, tandis que la ville, bon, faut déjà descendre en ville, trouver à se garer, payer le parking.
Quand il fait mauvais, on est mieux dans les centres comme ça que dans les boutiques extérieures.
On peut venir en voiture étant donné que je suis en campagne. C'est plus facile pour moi en fait.
On dépense déjà moins.
Plus ça ressemble à un entrepôt, plus on a de chances de trouver des trucs à moins cher. Si c'était beaucoup plus vert et que ça reste à des prix attractifs, ça ne me dérangerait pas.
Now, concerned about how these centers are aging, the government in late March 2024, well, they selected 74 of these shopping zones, and they attributed a total of $26 million to them, which is part of a program to rethink how these malls and shopping centers are used.
And in French, it's funny, they actually have a nickname, which isn't quite the nicest one.
No, it is not a pretty one at all. These zones, especially ones that are outside of towns, well, they are called La France moche.
Aww.
And this is, I know, this is our expression du jour, and it literally translates to ugly France. Now, there's been a pushback against this expression because it is an aesthetic judgment call. Nonetheless, since the magazine Télérama, they coined this expression in a 2010 issue on urban sprawl. Well, it's often been used to describe warehouses and strip malls, mostly in the press, advertising signs as well, it describes, and even light pollution that have popped up across the country in just over half a century. Now, to raise awareness about this largely unregulated, at least on a national level, an association actually gives out a prize yearly on the ugliest areas.
Voici la photo, celle qui a convaincu le jury. Nous sommes au cœur de la zone commerciale d'Aubière, l'une des portes d'entrée de la ville. Ici, forcément, cette photo fait réagir.
Je ne sais pas si ça mérite un prix, mais enfin, en tout cas, c'est une belle pollution visuelle.
Je trouve pas ça beau, moi. Moche. C'est lamentable d'en être là. Mais je ne le remarque pas parce que c'est rentré vraiment dans nos habitudes.
Now, these shopping areas are also known to create competition for smaller shops and can cause problems in downtown areas, but this is a dynamic that's not a new one.
It isn't. With the boom of mega stores and consumerism and sort of an American model of shopping that took off in the 1960s, there was concern about the effect that such big supermarkets, or hypermarchés as we call them here in France, the effect that they would have on downtown mom-and-pop shops. Like in other nations, many of them closed down in France, and even some shopkeepers, though, despite this, some shopkeepers, they were philosophical at the time.
Dans la vie, tout le monde a sa corde à jouer. Le soleil brille pour tout le monde. Il faut des grands magasins pour des personnes qui aiment le grand magasin, qui aiment rentrer par une porte, sortir par une autre. Et vous avez le petit magasin. Il y a toujours des personnes qui même un conseil.
Now, how, what, and where people buy things, it's constantly shifting. With COVID, inflation, and stagnating consumerism today, many businesses, they've had to abandon higher rents, which are often in city centers, much to the frustration of some shoppers and some shop owners, too.
Nous nous apprêtons à tourner la page. Comme nous. Pour le magasin, on va tourner la page.
Un commerce dans un centre-ville avec une ou deux personnes dedans n'a pas suffisamment les reins solides pour tenir 2 ans face à un mastodonte comme un centre commercial de cette dimension.
Le petit commerce n'est plus aussi dynamique qu'il l'a été.
And it's not just downtown areas that are struggling to adapt to the times. The shopping centers themselves are having to reinvent themselves.
Yeah, when it comes to downtown areas, the government actually has another program in place. It is called Action Cœur de Ville, with a budget of 5 billion euros until 2026. It's meant to help city centers become more inviting places. And the program is largely motivated by climate change, just like the shopping center program is as well. It aims to stop, in regard to shopping centers, these areas from renewing their look in the way that they used to, or by expanding into surrounding agricultural land.
Aujourd'hui, il est impératif que nous transformions ce site, sauf à péricliter dans les prochaines années, parce qu'on est entouré de grands pôles commerciaux qui, eux, ne nous ont pas attendus.
In 2021, amidst land use concerns over all of this concrete, be it in regard to heat, runoff, or biodiversity, the government froze new permits on very large shopping areas on the periphery of towns. This was for environmental reasons, but also because the industry is saturated and there's increased competition online shopping. In 2023, there were no new shopping centers opened in France. In 2024, there's only one. Instead of new areas, the government actually wants these aging malls to become smaller and to diversify with gyms, doctors' offices, and also potentially houses to tackle France's housing problems.
You know, Solange, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I guess that goes for shopping centers as well.
Yeah, it sure does. And France's authority on architecture, the Bâtiments de France, they even agree with this. Their Historic Monuments Department designated in 2011 a shopping mall in Sens, France, as a historic monument. It was designed by the architect Claude Parent, and for shoppers at another one of his malls, which was also in the running, well, they think the idea of it becoming a treasured landmark was a bit out of this world.
Le monument inscrit au patrimoine historique, celui-là. Je ne savais pas que ça pouvait être un jour un monument historique, mais le fait est qu'il est spécial.
C'était une époque aussi de nouveauté pour ce type de bâtiment-là. On n'a pas construit de centre commercial avant les années 60, enfin 50, je crois, le premier, fin des années 50. Donc il y a une nouveauté.
Now, moche or beau, ugly or pretty, urban planning is a reflection of the times that we live in. Perhaps future generations will look at the little boxes, be they houses or malls, and see them like we see middle-aged cathedrals, as a testament of our era.
Oh, thanks for that, Solange, for that look at La France Moche. Don't forget, if you want to get a closer look at this French Connections or any of the others we've had for you over the past years, you can always check it out on our website, france24.com.